everyone, welcome back to my channel. Firstly, I just want to say apologies, I'm in the car, and apologies in advance for the lighting if it is like horrendous or if it goes really dodgy. It is gone 7 p.m. and I am just in a car park filming this video, so I feel like we're gonna lose the sunlight very quickly. Just a perfect time for me to film because I was out and about on my own anyway. Ollie's doing the kids' bedtime and I had the camera and I thought, do you know what, I've got a Q&A, like I've got questions to answer, let's just have a chat. So if you haven't seen my last video, my weight loss update video, I think it would be a good idea to go and watch that one and then come back to this one. So I put a question box on my Instagram and I also asked anyone if they wanted to DM me. I've had quite actually an insane amount of messages and just conversations with you guys about my last video. You guys have all been so lovely and supportive, so thank you for that. It is scary putting yourself out there. Weight loss in general is an iffy topic, but let alone like weight loss injections, which yeah, that is what I am doing. So yeah, I've had a lot of questions, so I'm gonna just crack on. A lot of them were very similar, so I'm not gonna like put anyone's name or anything because it is like a really personal subject. Obviously some of them might be like loads of people's questions like merged into one if they're all kind of similar but just different wording or whatever. I guess firstly, I am on Mounjaro. I said this on my previous video, but obviously there are other weight loss medications available. I don't know really anything about like Ozempic or the others. I just know Mounjaro because that's what I'm on, that's what I looked into, that's what I feel like everyone who I know who's on a weight loss jab medication is also using the same one. So I've had a lot of questions, firstly asking where I get my prescription from, if I get it through the GP or if I get it through like a private pharmacy. And I get it through a private pharmacy. I think at the minute to get it through your GP you have to be diabetic and also have another like qualifying issue. It is approved by the NHS as a weight loss medication, so I'm guessing, you know, over the next couple of years or so they might roll it out for people who are like obese or whatever and not just diabetic. In terms of the pharmacy that I get it from an online pharmacy called MedExpress. I did a lot of research into ones that were like legit because honestly it's scary. Like it's such a huge thing, like you have to trust where you're getting it from. Like you don't want to be just injecting God knows what obviously into your body. So if you are looking into doing it, please obviously do make sure that you are using a registered, trusted, proper, legitimate pharmacy, and there are obviously websites that tell you like if they're registered to a certain thing that means they're legit kind of thing. But yeah, lots of people who I know use MedExpress and I think everyone's been pretty happy with it. Have a discount code if anyone does want to do it, for £40 off your first order. That's how I did it. I used my friend's code, obviously not like pushing or selling like it's a really serious thing if you're considering it, but if you are considering it and aren't sure where to go, then I will have my code in the description box below for you. A question that quite a lot of people had is, does it hurt, like the actual jab? And I have had this conversation with like my friends in real life too. A couple of my friends who were looking into doing it or whatever were kind of concerned because they had to inject themselves postpartum after having babies, and I had to do that with my second baby too. When I tell you that jab was horrible, and everyone who's worried about this jab because of that jab, like you don't need to worry. The needle for the Mounjaro is teeny tiny. Like I do not feel it, like I really do not feel it. There's been a couple of times where there might have been a tiny little scratch feeling, but honestly it is nothing. Like I most of the time don't see it and I don't look either. So I literally I do 2-finger distance away from my tummy button and I alternate sides. I keep a note on my phone if I've done the right tummy, left tummy, right tummy, left tummy. Yeah, I do a 2-finger width away from my tummy button. I pinch the skin and I just put the needle in there. It's absolutely fine. And what I do is I put the injection in. So you get the pen, you have to turn it all the way to the full dose and then you push it down slowly as the medication goes in, and then I just hold it in there. Like I keep the needle in for 10 seconds after I've done the dose because I just have read that that's like a way of making sure that it's all like fully in. I don't know, that's just what I've always done. But yeah, it's really not painful at all. I've never jabbed anywhere else. I know a lot of people jab in their thigh or in the back of their arms, I think are the other places, and some people say that they have differing like side effects or suppression levels depending on where they inject. I don't know about that because I've never done anywhere but my tummy, and I don't think I would unless my tummy starts to get sore or irritated. But honestly, where I just alternate every single week, like I'd never get any bruising or anything. Obviously everyone's so different, but I've never had a mark. I can never see really where it's been or anything like that. It really isn't something to worry about. If I get bloods done, I can't look. Like, I don't love needles. Like, I really don't like blood tests and stuff. I don't like, but this, I don't know. I was really nervous, don't get me wrong. So I've also had lots of questions about side effects, if I've had any big ones, or like what are my main ones, or have they ever been so bad that it's made me consider not doing it? That kind of question I've basically had. And the answer is really no. The first week that I took it, the first ever time, like 2 days after, I had a horrendous migraine. Like, I had to be in bed all day. My head was awful. I did also come on my period that day, and I do get hormonal migraines or headaches, depending. I don't know if it was my period, I don't know if it was the jab, I don't know if it was a combination, but either way, that first, like, it was, so I took it on a Wednesday, and on the Friday it was horrendous. I slept it off and it was all good, and I've not really, touch wood, ever noticed headaches with it since. I do sometimes get nauseous. Like, I tend to take it at around, I used to be a bit more strict. Now I kind of take it when I get an opportunity, when the kids are like busy and I don't want, because I don't want them to see me doing it and, you know, whatever. So, you know, I tend to maybe do it in Otis's nap time, if Buzz is like playing with his toys in the living room or whatever. I did last week do it really late at night. I did it at like 11 p.m, which is the latest I've ever done it. But I used to, when I first started, I used to do it around 4 p.m, kind of by the time it was bedtime. Hopefully that's when the side effects would have kicked in if they were going to, but I wouldn't really know about them because I was sleeping, kind of thing. I kind of thought I'd just sleep off any side effects. If I jab like in the afternoon or whatever, I've noticed I sometimes get a bit of like an anxious chest, like a bit palpitation-y, or a bit anxious feeling. And I was speaking to my friend about it, and she was like, but what are you nervous about? Like, are you scared about this, you know, you scared about? And I was like, no, like, it's nothing. My mind isn't anxious. I'm not nervous at all. Like, there's nothing I'm worrying about. But I don't know if there's something that I don't know, but I've noticed like just a bit of a fluttery feeling. If you get anxiety, you maybe will know what I mean. But it passes. It's such a short amount, and it's nothing like to write home about. It's just something I've kind of observed. I've been very, very lucky that I've not had any severe side effects. Like, I know some people really do struggle. I will say one of the side effects, I guess, is that like I struggle a bit more to go to the toilet. Like, I used to be very regular, like once or twice a day kind of girl, but also I was eating so much more rubbish, and I just think that was probably why I was having to go to the toilet so much more. It probably can be a few days sometimes, and it's frustrating. I don't have like tummy ache with it. I don't have like constipation to the point where I'm like uncomfortable. I feel like I'd be more satisfied if I could go every day. Do you know what I mean? I just don't really have the feeling. It's not like I've got a tummy ache where I'm like trying to go and I can't. My body's just not having to go as often as it used to. But yeah, that could just be because I'm not eating the amount of rubbish that I used to eat. Someone also said, do you still want to have sweet things but less? As time has gone on, I have had a bit more of a sweet tooth back. For the first kind of month or 2 months or so, I'd say I really didn't really care for sweet stuff all that much. I just didn't fancy anything sweet or savoury, to be honest. Like, the suppression was so high at first that I was like just so indifferent to food, and I was really having to like think about what I was gonna have. So yeah, I was kind of just indifferent. But I do think now, I feel like I'm at a nice level with my suppression right now, where I am suppressed. I'm not thinking about food all of the time, but I am able to enjoy food and actually feel hungry when the times are right for me to feel hungry, or times and stuff, if that makes sense. I'm not like constantly hungry like I used to feel, or thinking about food all the time. I just, yeah, when the time comes for it to be a meal time and I'm like preparing food, I'm looking forward to what I'm gonna make. Whereas at one point when the suppression was really high, I was kind of like so over the food by the time I'd made it. Sweet stuff, definitely I would still have a biscuit or two. Trust me, just being able to have 1 or 2 biscuits is insane. I would have been able to eat like a half a pack, like without even thinking about it. I do still want it and I do still have it, but in just like a normal moderate way, I guess. And a couple of questions about like my goal weight and goal size. I feel like, did I touch on this in my weight loss video? I feel like I did a little bit. So I don't have like an exact weight in mind. I would be really happy in like a size 10 to 12, just average, just like normal. I feel like that's when my body looks good. I'm gonna keep going. I've got like some interim like weight goals in mind, and I'm just gonna kind of assess how I feel as we go. But yeah, to be in like a size 10 or 12 clothes, like maybe more like a 10, because I feel like even when I'm in a size 10, my BMI isn't like classed as healthy. It would be nice to be in the healthy range, like even if it was right on the very cusp of healthy versus like overweight, it would be nice to sit in that range, but I just don't know how realistic that is for me. One of the questions is, how do you stay so motivated and on track? I feel like the jab has given me like the biggest handhold I could have in this like whole weight loss situation. Like it has put me on the track, and it is easier for me to stay motivated and be on track, because that, I feel like the hardest part for me was like the food noise and the hunger like constantly, and just the wanting food all the time, like feeling like I needed it to like fulfill something within me. I don't know, I spoke about this before, but that was like the hardest thing for me. And now that has gone, like I find it really quite easy to stay on track, like because I think the more you see results as well, and with the jab I personally have seen results more quickly than any other way I've lost weight before. Someone asked what dose I'm on, or like what dose I plan to be on or whatever. So I am on 5 milligrams. I did 2.5 milligrams for 1 month, and since then I have been on 5 milligrams. I am due to order my next pen like this week. I've got 1 dose left of my current pen, and I need to decide if I'm going to stay on 5 or go up to 7.5. I think I'm going to stay on 5 because it is working for me at a level that's good. My only worry is that like if next week I don't feel the same, then I've got a whole month on this 5 milligrams, and it's like if it's not doing it kind of thing, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I personally, like if it's working for me, I don't think it's worth risking like worse side effects, paying more money, because the higher you go up a dose, the more expensive it is. I want to be able to do this journey for longer. I feel like if I rush through the doses, I might get to a point where like I've done all of them and then my body's kind of resilient to it, and I'm not getting the suppression, and there's nowhere more for me to go. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't know about Mounjaro, basically you start on 2.5 milligrams, 2.5 milligrams. It's kind of called like a loading dose. It's meant to be a small dose that some people literally don't even feel any effect of it. Some people feel incredible effects and like really high suppression on it, and they just stay on that for ages and ages and ages because it works for them. Whereas I was on 2.5 for the first month, and then by like week 4, when I was coming to reorder a pen, I felt like I wasn't getting the suppression, like I was wanting food more, and so I decided to order 5 milligrams. 5 milligrams from where I order from is the same price as 2.5 milligrams, so I was, you know, that was fine. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm gonna stay on 5. But once you kind of feel like it's wearing off and like your body's a bit like resistant to it and the suppression isn't so high, then that's when you should kind of consider going up. But you are with a pharmacy online, so you can always like call them, email them, speak to them. Every time you come to order a new pen, the option is there to like kind of speak to them about that. They kind of not encourage, but I think like the normal is that you kind of go up every month or so. But I have just reordered a 5, no questions, no problems about that. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please comment below and I'll try and explain it better. In terms of actually getting prescribed, I'll explain to you my process. I don't know if other pharmacies or other providers are different, but for me, I basically had to go on the website, fill out the like form. I had to let them know my height, my weight, kind of medical history. I had to give them my GP's name and address. I had to send proof of ID, and I had to take photos of myself so that they could see I was the size that I was saying I was, and that the pictures that I was sending kind of matched my ID, that then matched my medical records, I guess, that people aren't accessing it when they shouldn't be. Obviously it is a medication, so they've got to be careful and make sure that they're being as strict as, I thought that was a big bumblebee, but I think it's just like a motorbike somewhere. They obviously have to make sure they're being as kind of strict with that and make sure they're not prescribing the wrong people. You do have to have a BMI, I believe, of over 30. I will write on the screen if I've got that wrong, to get the injection. So I've had a few questions about like telling people, and you know, people saying that, oh, you're so brave for opening up and talking about it online. And people, honestly, you guys have just been so lovely. I hadn't really told many people at all before I told everybody via my YouTube video. I don't really know who has, who hasn't, who does watch my video, other than obviously people who message me or talk to me about it. A couple of my friends knew, Ollie obviously knew, and that was about it really. And yeah, honestly, the response and feedback and like just conversations that I've had since uploading that video have been incredible, and it is so comforting. Although it's sad to see how many of us do struggle, it is nice to know that I'm not alone. And the things that I was saying in my video, where I was like just laying it all out there, like, I don't know if this is weird, but this is me. So many of you feel the same. And if I, by talking about it, have like made any of you feel better or less alone, or just anything positive has come from it for you, then yeah, I have done my job. And I always want to be open and honest with you guys. Like, say if I went up a dose and I was really struggling, of course I would tell you. Like, I don't know, I just think it's important. I just think there's so much that we don't talk about, and it's horrible feeling alone, and I don't want to feel like that, and I don't want you to feel like that. So yeah, I think I'm going to end this video here because I'm very aware of it getting really dark around me, and the quality of this might be going to absolute poo. So I'm going to end it here. I can always do a part 2 if there's any other questions. I think I've kind of answered the gist of them. As always, leave any comments or messages below and I will get back to you. If you are wanting to order, then I would fully recommend MedExpress. I can't speak for any other providers, but definitely do your research, and my discount code will be in the description box if you do want to order through there. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope I have been able to share my experience a little bit more and answer some of your questions, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye guys, love ya. Mwah.